All right, so looking at 4.1, classifying triangles, this first part comes from middle school. Like, we're dating right way back. I guess 7th grade would be about when you started learning about triangles. So that's what we'll start with. We'll start with our classification by angles. And we have just an acute triangle. We have the obtuse triangle. We have a right triangle. And lastly, we have our triangle where all the angles are congruent. We call that the equiangular triangle. And then by sides, if we have two sides that are the same measure, we call that an isosceles. If we have a triangle where all sides are the same, we call that an equilateral. And then lastly, no sides being the same would be scalene. So it was a long time ago when I did my student teaching in middle school, and I was helping in a classroom where some students had some trouble learning. And this kid was sitting there and he says, "Oh, like the lines in the letters." And I was like, "What?" And he said, "Like the lines in the letters." And I was like, "Explain." So after much conversation, the conversation rolled like this. Well, in the I, the capital I has two horizontal lines, and the sides, there's two. E had 3, and equilateral triangles have 3 congruent sides. Scalene, the S has none, and therefore none of the sides were the same. I thought that was just mind-blowing. What did you say?
That's Bobby Warren.
No, not. It was actually a student with severe learning disabilities.
Wow.
And that's what he saw when he looked at it. I mean, it was mind-blowing. We're sitting in this room, struggling to help them understand this, and he says that, and it was like, wow.
That's what the Holy Ghost would do.
And so that is what we came up with. So let's look at some examples of naming the triangles by both their sides and angles. Remember, it's not about how it looks, but about the markings. Move you up on the screen there. All right, so looking at the first one, if I'm going to name it by both the angles and the sides, looking at the angles, what does it have? A right angle, so this is going to be a right triangle. But looking at its sides, I see two sides that are what? That's not what the two sides are.
Well, congruent.
They're congruent or equal measure, and so therefore it is isosceles right triangle. My Apple Watch just told me to stand up. I haven't sat down all day, and my watch just says stand up. All right, looking at the next one, what do you notice about all the angle measures?
Same.
They're all the same. What do you notice about all the side measures?
Same.
So what do we call that? Equiangular, equilateral. All right, what about that last one? What you thinking?
Obtuse.
Obtuse?
No. Thank you.
That's bigger than 90?
Yeah, cute. Wait, that's a cute.
It looks exactly 90. This is not marked 90, so it's not 90.
So it's cute.
Yeah, we're going to go by that today. It's less than 90. Greater than 90, you would be able to, they would make sure that you could tell the difference, okay? When they're not marking them like that, that's going to be, it's going to be cute. What kind of triangle? Scaling. None of them are the same. It's a really cute scaling triangle. Oh. Come on, knee slapper. That was funny. That was funny. All right, so looking at the picture that we have, there's a couple of things we want to talk about. This is the instructions for what we're doing down here. We're naming the triangles for both the angles and the sides, right? And then this information is what they call given information. So it's going to tell us a little bit more about this figure that we have here. The first piece of given information that they give us is that PR bisects angle SRT. So here's angle SRT, and here's PR that bisects it. What does it mean to bisect it? Two congruent halves. So if this side is 30 degrees, what is also this side?
30 degrees.
Okay. The next piece of the congruent information, the given information says U is the midpoint of RT. So down here, U is in the middle of RT. What does that mean for us? What do you know about,
The mid.
if it's the midpoint, what does it do? Divides it into two congruent pieces. So if this side's 8 meters, this side's 8 meters. Does everybody agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we can start looking at the triangles. So the first triangle they want us to look at is UQR. Right here. Right? All right. Huh? I don't have enough highlighters to do it all the way around in highlighters, so this is pink.
How many?
There's 6.
Oh, okay.
That's on video. That's gonna be even funnier because then you get the real candidness of the video. All right, UQR. Tell me what you know about it.
It said the other angle was 30.
How do you know that?
Because 120 plus 30 is 150, and inside a triangle is 180 degrees.
Inside a triangle is 180, so this one must be 30. Okay. What else do we know? So what do we know about the angles of the triangle? What can we name it here?
ISO. Wait, and obtuse.
On the angles, I can name it obtuse. Okay. Now let's talk about the sides. I only know one side measure. What does that do for me? Not much good. I agree. Any way that I can figure out another side measure?
The height of it.
How?
By dividing 16 into 2.
No, you don't know that that's half of 16. Might be. Might not be. What else do you know? What do you see here? No, they're the same. You don't see isosceles. You see that they're the same. Isosceles only comes if the side measures are the same. Okay? But if the angles are the same, what do you know about the sides?
They're the same also.
The side across from them must be the same measure. Now that I know that, now can I say that it is isosceles? Now do I know that they're the same? Okay. Okay. We good there? Okay. Let's talk about RST. What's this big one out here? RST. You with me? The really big one out here. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's talk about its angles first. What's this angle here? And this angle up here? And this angle right here? So that means it is equiangular. Now let's look at its sides. What's this side measure? What's this side measure? What's this side measure? So it's equilateral also. Okay. Now let's talk about